AJ just came out and said thank you to TNA for all that they've done for him. He put the spotlight on me, which is a moment I'll never forget. I can't lie, I thought it was impossible. I didn't think it would ever happen. And then the match for Saturday got announced. So I feel like we're in a point in wrestling now, heading into 2026, that really, like, truly anything is possible.
All right, our guest at this time is one of the hottest up-and-comers in wrestling. He has done more in his life than I think I've ever done in mine. And he's someone who was born after John Cena broke into the business and will perform on John Cena's final show. He is a part of the biggest breakout period in TNA wrestling in quite some time, and their huge launch coming up on AMC. The TNA X Division champion, the man who makes everything a moment, Mr. Leon Slater. Leon, you've had quite the year. You're a 21-year-old man. You're the youngest X Division champion. How does one start professional wrestling when they're 9 years old?
With a fantastic mother, I'll tell you that much. That's where it starts, sure, bro. Yeah, I've said it in a couple of interviews before, but like, there's never been a time in my life where pro wrestling hasn't been what I wanted to do. You know, like, it's always been my dream. It's always been my goal. And I'm a very impatient person, and I'm also very impulsive. So as soon as I don't even want to say as soon as I was old enough, because I wasn't old enough. But as soon as I knew how to use the internet, I was Googling pro wrestling schools near me, wrestling schools in Bradford, and we finally found one at 9 after like a couple of months of searching, because of course, as it should be, everything was 14 plus, 16 plus, 18 plus. But we finally found somewhere with a juniors class. And I think a lot of people have it in their mind that, like, it was this big thing that I had to convince my mum of, like, oh, please, 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 can I do this? As soon as we found the school, she was like, yep, boom, I'll take you every week. And there we were every single week from 9 until now. So it's been a lifetime of a journey for me, but we're still just getting started.
The amount of support that you've had, and you've almost, like, I want to say incubator type wrestling career. I mean that in the right way. It reminds me a lot of, like, the dojo systems that you hear of in Japan, where some people start, maybe lucha, they start much younger than maybe people start here in the United States. How much of an edge do you feel you had then when you got to the televised level? Because it's kind of like, oh, I heard the name, and then boom, you've arrived. You know, like, and everyone I've talked to is like, oh, it makes complete sense that he's here, that he's in this position. And I was like, how do we not? We heard of, but how do we not? You don't even know. Like, for you, it's like, yeah, I knew this was coming. I knew I was going to have these moments. I knew this. I could envision it and perform it. For you, is it validating to know, like, what the whatever my mom did that people said was a bad idea when I was 9 now is clearly paying off because I'm on global television?
Yeah, it's validating is the perfect word for it, to be honest. And especially because it's been again, like I said, we're just getting started, but it has been such a journey, you know, like 12 years of my life, over half of my life, all of my teenage and my adult years have been dedicated solely to this goal. So the fact that I'm finally doing it on a global scale, where if anyone from home asks me, or if any of my mom's friends ask me what I do, I don't just have to show them me wrestling in and like some rundown club in front of 150 people anymore. Like, I can go, you know, John Cena, you know, WWE. Yeah, I'm doing that. So it's extremely validating. It's an extremely cool feeling to know that not only my work has been worth it, but all the work that the people around me have put in. You know, like I said, I couldn't have done it without my mom dropping me off to training every week, picking me up from shows before I could drive, dropping me off to shows before I could drive, being there at shows all throughout these years. You know, same with my sister, my grandparents, my aunties, my uncles, my whole family, and the whole kind of team that I've got around me. It's a very nice feeling to know that it's all starting to pay off in a big way. You know, I was always content, and I was always very happy that pro wrestling was my life, and that's what I did. But now, like I said, it's on such a big scale. It's nice to know that I'm making the people that have helped me proud, you know?
Obviously timing is everything, and the timing of you doing this is an incredible time to be a part of TNA, which has persisted and had this great partnership with WWE NXT that is now become the biggest media rights deal that TNA has ever gotten. You guys are going to leap to AMC coming up on mid-January. Tickets are on sale for that right now. Just went on sale at TNAWrestling.com. That's going to be in Dallas at the Curtis Caldwell Center, right there in the Fort Worth Metroplex. Once again, tickets on sale now. Also going to have Genesis that same weekend, so you can make a full weekend out of it there. Thursday night, TNA makes their debut on Impact, and then that weekend, Genesis. Now, obviously, what is the feeling in TNA when you guys found out about this? Because this is the biggest thing for TNA in a very, very long time.
100%, man. And the feeling was a very, very, very good one. I'll tell you that much. I feel like the way that the deal has went, we almost felt like, I guess kind of like you guys did online as well, but like we almost felt like Carlos was toying with us. You know what I'm saying? Every loop he'd go, we're closing in. I just need a few more weeks. And obviously we all love Carlos, and I love Carlos with all of my heart. I would die for that man. You know what I'm saying? If I wouldn't have jumped off Ultimate X if I didn't love Carlos so much. Because that done wonders. He's done wonders not only for myself but for TNA as a company in this new resurgence. But yeah, we felt like he was kind of toying with us. Every couple of weeks when we'd have the tapings, he'd show up and he goes, guys, I need a few more weeks. By the fall, we'll have it. By the new year, we'll have it. And it started to feel like, is this just a carrot that's being dangled? Is this just a dream that's super far off? And then when we got
these are not easy deals to put together.
No, absolutely not. And we all, don't get me wrong, we all 100% understood that, but it kept going and it kept going and it kept going. So it was, I'm like, when is this deal going to come? So when the announcement was made, we were just as happy as everyone else that we managed to cross the line, no pun intended, with the deal, and get it done. You know, because like you said, it's the biggest deal that TNA has made since Spike TV, you know? And I think we have the perfect roster, the perfect production team, the perfect crew in general to lead us into this new era. So everyone's very happy. And even more than that, everyone's very hungry to carry on the success we've had this year.
I have another big question about that date coming up in mid-January, but I'll get to that because you have something else a little bit sooner. A few hours from now, depending on when people see this, and I honestly, the outcome of it, I don't want to say is irrelevant. The moment of it, making a moment, right, is significant. You are going to team with another person that people call one of the biggest breakout superstars in wrestling, that young OG, Mr. Javon Evans. The two of you are at this perfect time. It reminds me of like you are Batman and Superman if you met each other like when you were 21. You know what I mean? Like that's what it feels like. And it is a DC Marvel type thing because you're from two different worlds, WWE, NXT, and you and him are going to tag team together against the guy that has become a franchise player for WWE, but is Mr. TNA, AJ Styles, and one of the greatest luchadors in the world, Dragon Lee. They are the reigning WWE World Tag Team Champions, and you get to take on the phenomenal one and the greatest luchador in the world, Dragon Lee, on John Cena's final night in WWE at Saturday Night's Main Event. Explain to me that process. You mentioned it earlier, how I went from performing. I know those shows. I've been on those shows. I've worked around those people. We know what that is. And then we've been to the big nights. What was the emotion when you found out you're going to be on WWE Saturday Night's Main, but it's going to be John Cena's last night? There's so much to just process, me even saying that, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I still don't think I've processed it fully, and I don't think I will until either like I'm in the ring or the day is done. But I feel in the lead up, it's still pretty difficult to process. I don't really think the gravity of the situation has set in. And don't get me wrong, I understand it's a huge opportunity, by far the biggest of my career, and I'm most excited for it that I've ever been for anything. I'm sure the nerves will set in on the day, but yeah, when I found out, man, it was crazy. It felt like almost a dream, you know what I mean? I was pinching myself because it seems so impossible, you know? All the NXT stuff that we've been doing seems possible. TNA and NXT have been working together, right? But to be on John Cena's last show, and there's very limited spots. Right now, there's only 4 matches announced, and I'm one of the competitors in one of those 4 matches, you know? And this isn't even getting into who's in the ring with me, you know what I mean? I'm so happy that it's me and Javon because I wouldn't want it to happen with anyone else. I feel like since I started working with NXT and since we had that match at Bound for Glory, we've become real friends, you know? So it's cool to have such a big opportunity with one of my best friends. And not only that, it's against, like you said, Mr. TNA. So I feel like there's two generational clashes of the guy that made TNA and hopefully the guy that's going to take TNA into the future in 2026. And of course, we can't miss out Dragon Lee, who, like you say, is one of the greatest luchadors in the planet, and he always has a point to prove. So I feel like that is a perfect ingredient for one hell of a match on Saturday. We've got the platform, we've got the performers, and we're all hungry and we're all ready to go.
I know people are going to be tuning in for John Cena in his last match, and that is the draw, right? And you think the main event for the draw, that's the common courtesy in wrestling. But I do think there is an opportunity for you guys to steal the night. I do think you guys have that opportunity to have the Steamboat Savage on the WrestleMania 3 vibe, where it's like, oh yeah, you want to see Hogan slam Andre, but this is the one you guys are really even talking about. I think you guys have that opportunity, even with all the history and everything there.
I appreciate it, man. I hope so too.
Yeah, AJ's in there. Now, AJ is Mr. TNA. Some people calling you the new Mr. TNA. He is with WWE, but there's some rumblings. Leon, that he might be making his way back to cross the line once again, because he's been in the ring with you before. Not a match.
He has.
Certainly an endorsement of you winning that championship that you took as the youngest X Division champion of all time, a title he put on the map. You took it from Moose. He comes out, he endorses you as the next guy. But he can endorse you, but beating Mr. TNA would make you Mr. TNA. Is there an opportunity with this partnership with WWE that you could potentially be in the ring with AJ Styles one-on-one in the future? Maybe even with TNA jumping over to AMC in the future? There's a lot of possibilities there. Fans want to know. That's the reason I'm asking.
I think it's 100% possible. Whether it happens, that is for me to find out even. Like, I don't even know if it's going to happen, right? But I think, especially after the moment we had at Slammiversary, AJ being away for over a decade and kind of me being the person that ushers him back in to TNA, and the fact that, you know, he gave his time to give me my flowers and sing my praises in a moment like that was huge, when no one would have complained if AJ just came out and said thank you to TNA for all that they'd done for him. He put the spotlight on me, which is a moment I'll never forget. I can't lie, I thought it was impossible. I didn't think it would ever happen. And then the match for Saturday got announced. So I feel like we're in a point in wrestling now heading into 2026 that really, like, truly anything is possible. So I think if AJ... No, I don't think. I know if AJ ever does cross the line again, I'll be waiting on the other side, waiting to welcome him back.
I think you'd be the first choice.
I'd hope so, right? I'd hope so.
I would, like, looking at what's there, I was like, who is the best matchup for him? I think it's got to be Leon. Like, it has to be
me, bro. I think it has to be me.
So, wow. Like I said, timing is everything. It's one thing when you hit and the business is here, but wrestling is popping off. The streaming thing is just happening. TNA has AMC Plus coming up here. It's going to be really great. Obviously, everything's also available. You can get a lot of classic content as well on TNA Plus at TNAWrestling.com. Your whole life has been wrestling. What are you doing that isn't wrestling? Your whole life has been this since you were 9 years old. Is there a Leon outside of wrestling that we need to know about? Is there something that influences your life outside of wrestling that you kind of like work in there? You have a certain style and a look that seems like very much your own.
Sure, yeah. I think that's maybe what's got me so far, you know, is that don't get me wrong, I love wrestling. I'm obsessed. I watch it every single day for hours and hours. But that's not all I watch, you know?
Yeah.
I think it's very obvious and it's very clear when a wrestler just watches wrestling because they wrestle like every other wrestler. They look like every other wrestler. But myself, like, I'm big into music. I like video games. I like movies, TV shows. I like all sorts of different pop cultures and hip hop and EDM music and house music and British culture and American culture. So I feel like I've lived a very unique life so far. And what you see when I come out of the curtain is a big melting pot of all of these experiences and places I've been and people I've met. And yeah, like, I'm only 21 and there's still a lot more experiences to have, a lot more people to meet, a lot more places to go. But yeah, definitely what you see now is 100% authentic, and it comes straight from my experience on this planet for 2 decades and 1 year.
You literally were born the year I graduated high school, and I think, oh man. You mentioned a melting pot of different things. Is there a show that isn't wrestling? Is there something that's directly outside of wrestling? I mentioned that outside influence, right? that you brought into your whether it be your entrance gear or your music. I always love talking to wrestlers where they take something that's completely out of the realm of what we think, not wrestling, right? And bring it
Yeah.
in. It makes the things kind of like flourish. It's a new color to add to the palette. Is there something there that we're not seeing that you're like, ooh, here's a little Easter egg. Here's something that I added to what I'm doing. I saw this and I think I can work that into a match or a promo or my entrance gear. What would that be?
Sure, yeah. So like a lot of the inspiration behind my look comes from like early 2000s rap culture. Like if you look at anything Pharrell was wearing or Kanye was wearing at the time, like the Bape hoodies. I'd wear a Bape hoodie to the ring, like the full
All
zip
right.
hoodie, Bape hoodie, but made into a wrestling jacket, right?
All right.
Same with the baggy pants. Like at the time when I started wearing them, they're a lot more common now, but there was only maybe one or two people doing the baggy pants. And then I took that and I was like, okay, how can I innovate on this? And then I added the little flaps on the side. So yeah, like you said, man, it really is a melting pot. And as far as like movies and TV shows go, I'm a big fan of Snowfall and the character of Franklin Sane and seeing his rise and seeing his kind of descent into madness towards the end of the show. And that's always something I'm trying to think about. I'm just as big a fan of that as I am as this UK show called Top Boy, which is about the UK streets, which was actually produced by Drake, which is pretty crazy. That was on Netflix and local channels for a while. The UK music is a big influence in that whole culture. So yeah, man, I do take inspiration from a lot of different parts of my life. I'm a big video game guy as well. Like there's a bunch of stuff from video games that I like to take and place into real life. But yeah, I'm a big fan of stuff outside of wrestling. Like I was saying, it's not all I do. Don't get me wrong, I love it, but there's definitely a lot of outside influence. And I guess like on the topic of TV shows, one of my favorite TV shows ever is The Walking Dead, and the fact that we're on AMC, which created
Yes.
Walking Dead, is a huge like fan out, crazy fanboy moment for me as well, which is pretty cool.
I was thinking the same thing. I was talking to some wrestling friends, and they are big Walking Dead fans. And they're like, "This is the best thing AMC has done." So Walking Dead, they were all like out of it. And I was like, they had like Breaking Bad there, and they had like all these. It was like, no, but it's Walking Dead and TNA, and then Breaking Bad.
And then
I
the
was like,
rest
oh,
of
we're ranking AMC shows. Once again, TNA's Thursday Night Impact, total nonstop action wrestling is on AMC. A complete huge upgrade. Of course, you can get all the info at TNAWrestling.com. They are coming in mid-January for this big leap. That'll include January 15th, their debut on AMC, and then you can get tickets now for that and that big weekend with Genesis just 2 days later at TNAWrestling.com. Leon, if they want to follow you, what are the real accounts to follow? The real socials, if they aren't following you on the socials, where do they go?
The real social account of Leon Slater is at Leon Slater _. That's on Twitter or X, if you want to call it that, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. So it's the same username across all accounts. If it's anything else, it's a Ras Clark fake. So don't be clicking on it.
There you go. All right. Don't fall for the bullocks, man. Don't fall for it.
Don't for the bollocks, man. Don't fall for the bollocks.
All right. I appreciate the time, Leon. It is so exciting to talk to you, especially this week with such an amazing thing happening for you this weekend and in January for TNA making the leap to AMC. Thank you for the time, man. Good luck to you, buddy. I'm excited to see you at the matches, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate the time, man.